Welcome to Legal and Wealthy, the podcast for lawyers who are ready to stop playing small and start building true wealth and a career and life of their dreams, powerfully and purposefully. Whether you're a law student, new associate, or seasoned attorney, this show is for those who are ready to take charge of their law career in a new way. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, attorney, law firm owner, professor, and founder of Legal and Wealthy. Here, we don't just practice law, we practice liberation and becoming wealthy attorneys. Because being a great lawyer shouldn't come at the cost of your time, your peace, or your financial freedom. Every week, you'll get the strategy, mindset, and wealth building guidance that law school never gave you. So you can go from just surviving your career to building a legacy through it. Let's get to work. Welcome back to the Legal and Wealthy podcast, the show for lawyers who are building real wealth, protecting their health, and rising above the lie that success has to come at the cost of everything else. I'm your host, Lauren Klein, practicing attorney, founder of Legal and Wealthy, and someone who left a big law partner track to prove that there is another way. Today is an episode I have been looking forward to, and we have all been talking about for quite a while. I have a group of extraordinary female attorneys sitting here with me today who are near and dear to my heart. We are all in a networking group together, and we have banded together to form this badass crew of female lawyers who are just kicking ass. And I'm so happy to be sitting down with them today so we can share their stories with you all and their advice that they have for practicing law and succeeding, and maybe some, bumps that they've had along the way. We have a real estate attorney who's been running her own firm for over 13 years and built a practice rooted in making the law feel accessible for South Florida. We have a family and civil litigator who grew up translating for her immigrant parents and turned that experience into a successful law firm, and also somehow published 3 romance novels, and I've read one so far. It was so good and so spicy. We have a criminal defense attorney who will tell you that it wasn't one moment that changed her career. It was a series of them, and how they permanently changed how she shows up for her clients. We have a business attorney who announced that she was quitting her job and starting her own law firm from her sister's living room on her first vacation in 3 years. I think we've all been there, and has since built offices in 5 cities with 2 more on the way. We have a litigation partner who walked into law school as a Division I goalkeeper with a 3.98 GPA and who has been arguing in courtrooms across South Florida ever since. And we have, last but not least, our incredible aeronautical attorney who teaches us and shows us so many cool things about her industry, and who started her law firm recently and is the most recent one to join our group. And we're so happy to have you. So with that, let's dive into our first question. I want to start with this. In one sentence, not your title, not your firm, who are you as a lawyer? Elena Blows.
That's hard. That's really hard. Who doesn't want to just say their title? I am the attorney that helps people or protects people when they feel as though they need it the most. Can you figure out what I am?
Can anyone guess? Can anyone guess?
That's my one sentence.
I love it.
Yeah, and I would say that I don't have a sentence either. It's more a phrase, and it's a phrase that I picked up in my soccer playing days. It was D2, to correct the record, not D1. I wasn't good enough to be D1 back then.
You're D1 in our hearts.
Yes.
Yay! No one's told me that before. True. And it's relationship focused. So the older I get, and I'm 40 now, the more that I realize that it's about the people. It's about the people in this room. It's about the people that we see on the street, the people that are in our lives just walking through Publix. And so for me, it's about being relationship focused with the clients, but also with opposing counsels, with my staff, with judges, because as the litigators here know, and I'm kind of pointing around to all of us, we've been in the courtroom before. We don't fight. Let's strike that. If you fight the personalities, you're always going to lose. You have to fight the issues, not the personalities. Mm-hmm. So for me, relationship focused.
That's great and so true. I think for me, I would say I'm the fierce advocate you want in your business when SHIT is hitting the fan.
Oh, you can just say.
I agree with that.
Preferably before.
We can curse. We can curse on here.
Yeah.
We prefer it.
When shit hits the fan, you want to make sure you already have me on your business team.
relationships and shit hits the fan. Family law. I'm the steady voice and of reason that guides my clients from the legal chaos to peace of mind.
For me, accessibility, like Lauren mentioned in my bio, is really important to the point where I always strive to be relatable to my clients. I'm a kid that grew up in Miami. I don't come from a family of lawyers. And for me, I want you to know that you can trust me, that you can talk to me, that you can tell me whatever the questions are as a client, regardless of if you think it's stupid or not. There's no stupid question. I always want to be relatable and trustworthy, and that point of contact and comfort for my clients.
So I would say that I'm a person that cares deeply about people themselves. I care about individuals. I care about individuals' businesses. And I also, on the other hand, I also am kind of an academic person, and I really like taking complex problems and solving them, breaking them down. That's something that I personally am passionate about. So that's what I would say.
That's great. Well, I'm honored to know all of you, and I love this conversation and the direction we're going. The next question I have for everyone is, what's one word that described your first year of legal practice? And for those who are listening and can't see our faces, maybe just say your name this time, your full name before. Well, I said yours, but say your name so everyone can, if they're listening, hear who's who in this fabulous group.
So Elena Blos. How I felt in my first year, that would be inadequate.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not the type of person who comes to the table with this, I know everything type like atmosphere. I just don't, I'm not that way, right? I mean, you can be that way, but I'm just genuine, I'm real. And at the end of the day, my first year of practice, I felt inadequate. I needed to get in there and actually do the things for me to gain the confidence to then bring the energy that I know it all. And it's the practice of law, so you're not necessarily going to know it all. But I needed that. I felt very inadequate, and I feel like hopefully anybody who's listening will know that you can overcome that.
And just to provide a little color, what was your first role as an attorney?
As a public defender. So we really just got thrown in there.
Thrown into the deep end.
Oh, yeah. 3 weeks in, I had my first trial. Although I've heard some people literally first day get handed off with a trial. I got a little prep. 3 weeks.
That literally gives me heart palpitations.
That's
truly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's scary for me, and I'm in trial too. That's scary. So
Yeah.
what do you know on your second day?
Not
Nothing.
much.
Yeah.
Right. Way to
Iraq.
go.
Iraq.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about
Which
it.
isn't really applicable in criminal, but
Or in the practice of law.
yeah.
So this is Steffi T. I'm an intellectual at heart. I really like soaking up information and knowledge and learning and just gathering up all the things and gobbling it down. And so for me, I felt really fulfilled. I was like, oh, this is new. We're learning new stuff. Every single day is a complete adventurous nightmare. Let's just gobble it all up. So even though I had the scary moments that you had, maybe later we'll talk about my second day when I was lost in Miami. But I had the scary moments you had. It was totally that feeling was totally overcome by, oh my gosh, I get to learn something new today. I'm so excited. I get to learn something new and new and new. And that kept happening until I left that job. And I was a real estate litigator solely as my first job.
I didn't know that.
I can relate to that. Even though, of course, you have the insecurities and you don't know what you don't know yet when you start. For
But
me,
you know that you don't know.
Yeah.
I did
definitely
it.
know that I didn't know. I was for sure more like Stephanie. I was a lot. This is Michelle Note. I was excited. I was eager. I was like, let's do this. And I was in court, I think 2 days after I got sworn in. And I just couldn't wait to get to Palm Beach and go to my first hearing, which was just like a motion to withdraw so easy. But I was so excited to be there. I was like, oh my God, it's real. I'm really an attorney. I had to keep pinching myself. So for me, definitely first year was excited.
Marisol Cruz. For me, I felt invincible. I mean, I like deep dived into research and prepped and outlines and bullet points. And so I really felt very, very prepared, despite inside I was like freaking out. Like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? But I still had that like outer armor on that made me feel that way.
All right. Well, Kristin Estevez-Puentes. My word would be unsteady. So more like Elena, Not that I felt inadequate, but I was working for a small firm. I started there the day that I passed the bar. That's where I found out that I passed the bar, was in the conference room of that law firm. Um, and it was during the time, it was 2011. It was during the time of foreclosures. So I was also just thrown into court. And at that time, we did civil defense. I did family. I came from a strong immigration background. We did immigration there. But I was kind of thrown into the deep end. And sometimes it was hard to know who I should go to ask even silly things. And back then, if you remember, we didn't even have really maps on our, we had MapQuest still.
Oh
So
my
even
gosh.
something,
That's right.
yeah, even something like, where do I park at the courthouse?
Yep.
Right.
How do I check in?
How do I check in? Like, who do I talk to? And at that time, we didn't have the e-filing system either. You had to
Mhm,
go to
that's
the
right.
window and you had to e-file things, right? Flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So just learning how to do those, even those mundane things, and just being a little unsteady because we had never done them before.
Because law school doesn't teach you how to be
Law
a
school
lawyer.
does not
No,
teach you
it
how to
does
be a
not.
lawyer.
It definitely
doesn't.
does not.
It gives you, it teaches you how to think like a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll give it a lot of credit in that. But you're right. Like, where do you park in Miami-Dade? Which is good luck.
Oh my gosh, so true. So my name's Kristin Marrero. I would say my one word that describes it is eager. I think I was very open and really excited and couldn't wait to start. I had, whenever I was in college, I was in mock trial, and when I was in law school, I was in moot court. So I had all of this time leading up to it, and I was just like ready to go, guns a-blazing, just see what happens, get in there, fight it. I was a fencer whenever I was younger, so that was kind of like that was always kind of my attitude towards things, is like attack, right? So I was really excited and eager. You see it, right? Yeah.
I didn't know you were a fencer. That's really cool.
Fun fact about Kristin.
Really cool.
I was nationally ranked too, actually.
Wow.
Dang.
Now
Impressive
we know
group.
who to take with us on happy hours.
Oh,
we have to get back
yeah.
to our cars late at night.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got you. You're building your little apocalypse.
This episode of Legal and Wealthy is brought to you by Law Firm Sites. Law Firm Sites has been building custom websites and providing online marketing for law firms for over 23 years. They are good at what they do because that's all that they do. If you are looking to expand the reach of your firm or just improve your online presence, Law Firm Sites has the team to do it. Go to lawfirmsites.com or call 1-800-932-8242 and mention Legal and Wealthy to receive 10% off any of their website or marketing packages. All right. And I'm sure so many listeners, whether they're in their first year of practice or their 15th year, can totally relate to a little bit of what everyone just said. I know I can. Now let's take it back to the present. I'd love to hear one word or phrase or feeling that describes your current year of practice. And how many years out? Let's all say how many years out we are.
Okay, so Elena Blows here. I am 13 years out. I can count. Okay. And I wouldn't say it's a word, but a phrase would be locked in. Because at this point, we know enough, right? We know how to do things. We know how to get answers. We know, it's so funny because when you first start out, you spend so much time just figuring out how to do things, even just writing a motion or how to e-file when we finally could e-file. All the things take so long just to figure out how to do. Prepping for a depot, and now you know what to do, you know how to do it, and you're way quicker. So you just lock in on what you need to do, laser focused, and you're beyond efficient at this point. I would think everybody in this room is, right? No? No?
I would go beyond efficient.
Now, unfortunately, technology keeps changing. And so I feel like...
Or fortunately.
Well, yes, but you end up having to continue to learn how to do things in that realm. But yeah, laser focused and locked in at this point.
Locked in.
I believe that for you. You can see that.
Agreed.
You can really see that. I am a whole different swing of that. So y'all know that in the last year I had a back surgery, unexpected back surgery, and then I almost lost a toe. So tip to the listeners. You didn't know this?
No.
Pro tip to the
Is
listeners.
this the cabinet situation?
Wear shoes.
wear shoes when you're doing home improvement projects. Just wear shoes. I know we're
Yeah.
Floridians. Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
that's
listen, I was jamming out to Bone Thugs and Harmony, screwing in something, and kaboom. All right. Anyway, that's not the point of it. So you know that I went through those things. And here's what it taught me and what I can really take forward is being grateful. So I'm not somebody who slows down, who really gets deep into feelings, but I had no choice. I was laying around for about a month. And so I learned how to slow down. I learned how to be still. Y'all know that old biblical thing, be still and know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, what a skill to be still. To ask for help. How many people here have a hard time advocating for themselves and asking for help? Stop it, Elaine.
That's because she's locked in.
You know, okay, I take that back. Good
Were
for
you listening?
Good for you. Yeah, ask for help. And then, oh, wow, the support that I got from everybody. I mean, every single person. I had meals, I had crumble cookies, I had every single trial and every single hearing and every single thing got moved around. I mean, judges were asking, okay, how are you doing now? You know, like it's really remarkable when you ask for help who shows up.
So
And we have a
grateful
show-up
and
crew.
supported.
Yeah, we have a show up crew here. So
We
thanks
do.
to y'all for all that.
We do.
I think for me, it's less. So I'm in my 12 and a half years of practice, and I still can't wait till the day I can say 20 years. And I'd say for me, the last year has been expanded, but more from a business perspective. From a practice perspective, I think that since I opened the firm in 2017 to now, I've had such wonderful opportunities to be exposed to so much in the business world. But as a business owner and as a leader and as a CEO, I think expanded. I've really felt like I've stepped into my authority and my confidence, and I'm less fearful of making tough decisions. I've made more hard decisions in the last year than I've made in the 10 years I've had my practice, and I'm just grateful for it. I can't wait for what comes next.
What's one of the hardest decisions you've had to make?
Oh, this is going to be public, so I got to think about how I answer this.
You're negotiating.
Yeah. The hardest decision I had to make was facing my own fears that I had the capability of taking the firm to where I know it can go on my own.
Heard.
Wow.
It was that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Marisol.
safe space.
For me, I would say I'm 12 and a half years in, like Michelle.
Are we 2012 here? Is that
2013.
Oh, okay. So I am 13 years. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
like, did I
You're
do the math
13 and a
wrong?
half.
I'm 13.
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's intuitive, resourceful. I feel like I'm at a place where I know enough. Maybe it's a little bit dangerous, but also if I don't know it, I know where to go. I have the network that I've built. All of the lawyers as a solo, you know, sometimes it's hard and lonely. And I question myself, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I really that smart? No. And then I talk to somebody else and they confirm everything I'm thinking. And I was like, okay, maybe I do know what I'm doing. So a little bit intuitive and resourceful.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. Even though we've all practiced now for over 10 years, we do have imposter syndrome sometimes. I know
Imposter
we all do.
syndrome is super, super real.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
Especially for women.
when you call somebody and you ask that question who has 30 years of experience and their answer is, I don't know.
Yeah. Very validating. You're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay. All
Something
right.
that helps my imposter syndrome is a lot of people call me to ask questions. Like, oh, well, I know that you know this and you know this rule and you know that. And because I do a lot of appeals, so I know a lot of technical stuff. And when I hang up, I'm like, people feel like they want to talk to me. So it helps with that imposter syndrome a little bit.
Kristin, Estevez-Puentes. I've been practicing now 15 years, and I would say brave. And I would say brave is still a practice. You have to work at it. I would say this last year, I'm working on transitioning in some aspects of my career, just exploring other areas that might fulfill me a little bit more. And I think in years past, that would have been really scary. But 15 years in, we can learn anything. We can do anything. And just knowing that and knowing I'll figure it out, whatever it is, we keep going.
Yeah. We admire your bravery.
Oh, thanks. I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah,
always,
ask for help.
always.
I would say, as far as how I feel now, I would say passionate. I'm in a field of law that I'm in aviation law, so I'm in a field of law that I really, really love. I love the kind of clients I get. I love my cases I get. I
Oh,
like
stop
that
showing off about
everything.
how cool you are.
Everything's
We all know how cool you are.
I love going up in
So
gyrocopters.
We love the gyrocopter.
Yeah.
We do.
Like waiting on Kristin's next text. What is she doing now?
So that's what I would say. I would say passionate.
It's so cool. And keep showing us the pictures
Yeah,
and
we love
videos.
it. We
Please,
love it.
we do.
And
we
feel
love
free
it.
to invite us.
Yes.
Yeah, I
We'll
know.
go.
Yes.
We got it.
Yes. Private planes,
I'm
particularly.
showing my wife, and she's like, "Why don't you do that?" I'm like, "Shut up!
I know.
My job is cool too."
Michelle, you made a mistake.
I
Don't
know.
show your wife.
I know.
Oh my God. Okay, so this one is for Kristin and Elena, if you wanna answer it. So most attorneys have a before and after moment, or maybe a series of moments, a case or a decision, or even a conversation that permanently changed how they saw their career. What was yours?
So mine, I knew exactly what to say as soon as I saw this question. So mine was actually, so whenever I was younger, I was very, very like playful and a jokester and everything like that. And so whenever I was 25 and I first started practicing law, I was still like that because that was just my personality. That was who I was. I was very social. I always like to go out. I like to have fun. And I had a supervisor that came to me and he pulled me over and he said, you know, Kristin, I know you're a people person and you're a people pleaser and you really like to be liked, but I want you to remember something. And it's that in this career, it's more important to be respected than it is to be liked. And since I was 25, that stuck with me. And I've really taken that to heart. So I would say that's mine.
I was about to boo him before I heard what you said.
Yeah, me too.
And now
It's
I'm
gonna
like,
be
that's good
sexist.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where it was going,
Yeah.
but I like
That's really
where it
good
ended.
advice.
This is why we
Yeah.
listen, right?
Yeah.
What was that trend? We listen and we don't judge.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That was a fun one.
I like that.
Well, I like you and I respect you.
Oh, same.
Me? Okay. Elena here. I don't think I have a before and after moment, case, or I was trying to think with this question here as an attorney, but what came to my mind was a conversation I had or something that happened when I was actually in law school right before becoming an attorney that kind of changed how I thought about what I was going to do. And it was the same thing as you, a conversation with somebody else. And it was my last semester. Do we call them semesters? I think so.
Yeah, we do.
We're so far removed. I forget. Is it quarters? Is it semesters? And I was doing the certified legal intern program, and I had to take trial ad. And it was the first class, and we walk in, and the professor said, all right, well, he gave us a prompt and said, I'll give you guys like 10 minutes, and then everybody's going to get up here and do an opening statement. And so, we all just sat there, and I kind of quietly snuck out. And I went into the atrium, and I opened up my laptop, and I started looking to how to drop the class. And because I just wasn't going to do it. No, like what? You're on the first day, you're going to make, out of nowhere, you're going to make me just perform? And he comes into the atrium, and he goes, what are you doing? The professor. And I said, I'm dropping the class. He said, no, you're not. I said, well, yes, I am. You could see my laptop's here.
It's happening.
It's happening. And he took the laptop and closed it. And he said, go back inside. Now, I had him as a professor before, so it's not like this like mean guy coming over. But he said, go back inside. You're not dropping the class. And I was like, okay, I got my stuff. And I went back inside, and that was it. Like, I thought I was not going to complete the certified legal. And at that point, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing trial ad. I had thought I was going to be a public defender. I was like, I am not doing I'm not going to be a public defender. That's just not what I'm going to do. And then he changed that for me and said, no, you're going to get in there. And so, that's always stuck with me whenever I feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, who cares? Just do it. Just do it, no matter what it is. If you don't feel prepared to do something, just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
And then you build up this whole scenario in your head, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, that
Wasn't that bad?
wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Not even a
Yeah.
little bit.
My favorite part of that story is the professor, though, the relationships, people that care, like
Mhm.
somebody who cared, because I had professors to completely change my
Yeah.
law school career,
Mhm.
but it's that moment that they cared. Did you go to Nova?
Yeah, Professor
See,
Dobson.
that's one thing. Nova made
Dobson.
Look at his Nova
Yeah.
shadow.
Professors care.
Yeah.
Professors care.
Good
That's
for him.
awesome.
And your fight or flight is strong, my friend.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And to like just realize there's not really a tiger in the room and just take it on. That's pretty special.
That was really good.
Yeah, that's
That
a
was
great
really,
story.
really
It
good.
was.
I love that. All right. This one is for Stephanie and Marisol. There's the career you planned and the career you actually built. How different are those two things and what caused the gap?
I'll take it on. So this is Steffi T. I have 15 years of practice. I forgot to say that before. So what was who knows here what my first career was?
I think you said real estate
Something-
litigation.
Something,
Back
something
further.
space.
Oh, so close. Soccer.
Soccer.
So I played soccer from the time I could walk and through college. And I just anticipated that I would keep on the soccer train. Unfortunately, like I told you earlier, there were many players who were just much better than me. And so then I grew up on the Space Coast, right? So I grew up around NASA and all the contractors of NASA. And my dad was a marine like hoorah marine aviator. And so my head was in the clouds. We watched C9's touchdown when I was surfing and sitting on the trampoline. Like I thought, okay, then I can pivot over to being a lawyer because y'all remember I had a top 5 when I was 7 and a desk. You remember this story?
remember this.
All right. So I was a kid sitting at my desk. It's the first time I got a computer in the house. I was like 7 or 8. And it had a list of top 5 things I want to be when I grow up. President, vice president, first lady, cabinet member, lawyer. All right. Number 5 was lawyer. Number 5 was lawyer. So I defaulted to number 5 and I was going to be what Kristin is. And I was like, let me go be an aviation lawyer. I have all these connections. I have these backgrounds. As a matter of reference, my brother is an aeronautical engineer. My brother-in-law is an aeronautical engineer. I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University playing ball, thinking I would be an airline attorney or an aviation attorney. Instead, Kristin gets to be in the gyrocopters, not me.
I'll invite you up next time.
It's okay, because I learned something when I was at Riddle, which is that I'm not that good at science. I couldn't hack it. I was going for my pilots, and I was also I had to take 1 full semester of avionics classes, and those were real darn hard. And I'm a pretty smart cookie, and I learned I couldn't hack it in that world. And so I took a hard left turn and then happened to end up in civil litigation doing real estate stuff because the market was weird and hard and there were a bunch of foreclosures. Then I got tired of doing only bench trials and wanted to do jury trials. Somebody I really respected had just opened a firm and he said, come over here. And that was 10 years ago. And so I went from being a soccer player to defaulting to my number 5 of my second grade self to not flying, to not being in avionics or any of the natural connections I had, forgetting all my soccer world and just saying, let's just look over here and see what over here has to offer.
It's not too late to be president.
I vote for you.
Please.
Same, definitely.
Let me
All
raise
of
my
our
kids
votes.
first.
You heard it here first, right?
So really quick before Marisol. So what do you think the lesson is there for those who are listening and they're like, okay, things aren't working out the way that I thought they were working out, but you're clearly where you were meant to be.
Right.
So what's the lesson?
For me, it was just ride the train. Like some people maybe in this room, y'all have thoughts about where it's really going to go and how it's going to be. And I just kept riding the train. If it went left, I went left. If it stopped, I stopped. And when the door opened of the opportunity, I just kept walking through it. I didn't plan to be where it is that I am right now, but I set up those being relationship focused. I just set up relationships and then I let the universe take me where the universe wanted me to go. Now I'm more intentional about things. But back then I was just riding the gravy train, just seeing what would happen.
Marisol, for me, I always thought about being a lawyer. My parents, we spoke Spanish at home growing up. And I always remember sitting at my dining room table. My mom had gotten into this crazy car accident. And the lawyer, my mom cleaned houses. And one of the ladies she worked for said, "Oh, I have a lawyer. He's going to come help you." And he came to the house. And I sat at the table with my parents and this lawyer. And I was translating for them. I would think I was like 12, talking about all this legal stuff. And I just did it because that's what I did. But at the end of the conversation, I was like fascinated by this lawyer. He was a good looking guy too, but didn't hurt.
And a couple romance novels later.
We'll make you a little bit older though.
And I said, like, "What's it like to be a lawyer? Like, do you like it?" And he said, "The law lives and breathes." And I said, "Okay." And I never forgot that. And so I always thought about being a lawyer, and I went to, I took a few years off during undergrad, and I worked at the airlines, and I did all sorts of odds and ends. And I was like, do I want to go to law school? I don't know. And then I worked as a paralegal, and I was like, no, I don't want to go to law school. And here I am. And in law school, I said, I will never be a family lawyer. And
In life, never say never.
And I was a paralegal for criminal defense lawyers for 12 years. And one of the lawyers says, "Oh, one of my clients is getting a divorce." I think I was a lawyer for like a week. I was like, "Sure, I'll do it." And then I realized that the idea I had made of the law, it's like, it's the law and there's the courtroom and I'm going to go in and I'm going to be this, win, win, win. There's humans and stories behind all of these people who are in the courtroom. In the family courtroom, it's sure there's legal ramifications, but they're families, they're kids. And so it pulled at my emotional heartstrings, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm really meant to be here, right? Because behind all of this black letter law is, how does your family fit into this? How do we help that family? And so I sort of looked at that, the law lives and breathes, and every family is affected differently by the same laws. So I think for me, it was the shift was when I was a paralegal. I know I didn't want to do criminal law. I just didn't have it in me. I thought I didn't want to do family law, but when I was encountered with it, I realized it really fits the mold of sort of how I like to help people. And it relates back to sitting at that table with my parents and growing up and literally translating everything for them day after day. And it's sort of what I do and how I drive my practice, that I want to be a lawyer who would have sat at that table with my parents.
Just got chills. Really. I love it. Hey, let's be honest. Are you a high-functioning attorney or law student, but kind of low-key exhausted, maybe successful on paper, but secretly wondering, is this it? That's exactly why I created the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. It is a 6-day reset for lawyers and law students who are done with burnout, chaos, money, energy, and just running on fumes. For 6 days, we reset your mindset, your money, and your nervous system, because we cannot build true wealth and have great health if we are living in survival mode. It's just the fact of the matter. And because I am that kind of girl, we end with a virtual yoga session with the Aman Costigan. So you're not just wealthy on paper, you're regulated, grounded, and actually enjoying your life. This is not about hustling harder. It's about recalibrating everything so your wealth and your health can feel calm, aligned, and sustainable. If you're ready to enter your wealthy lawyer era without burnout, join me inside the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. 6 days, one reset, a completely different relationship with money, your health, and your success. Check out the show notes or go to my Instagram to learn more about the Wealthy Lawyer Reset. All right, this one is for Michelle and Christy. I like this question. All the questions are good, but this one, ooh, it's a doozy. So what did you have to unlearn from law school or your early law career to become the lawyer and the person you are today? Whoever wants to take it first.
I'll go. Okay. When you gave me that question, my early career is what? popped out 100%. Like I mentioned, I've been 15 years of practice now, and I worked the first day that I passed the bar, starting at a small firm. And I learned a lot there. Again, it was a time of foreclosures, and so we did a lot of different things. So I did learn quite the spectrum of different practice areas. But I learned a lot of how I did not want to be as a person and as a boss, especially. He had a tendency to micromanage me and the staff. And I was always one of those kids, I'm sure we all were. You didn't have to check my homework. You didn't have to make sure that I did this or whatever I was supposed to do. I did it. So then to be 25, a professional, and being told, hey, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you call this person? When I literally just hung up the phone, I didn't even have a chance to update you. It was a lot. And I never wanted to be that when I always knew I wanted to go out on my own at some point, and I knew that that was not how I wanted to be. He also had a tendency, and I get it to an extent, of telling us that we were disposable. And it's true to a point,
That's rough.
right? If my assistant quits tomorrow, I will replace her. I will hate that, right? I love her. I love the relationship that I have with her. And she's not the first and only assistant I've ever had. I've had several, and I've loved all of them. But time goes on, but to tell people that you're disposable, I think is just not great for morale. So things like that is just, I didn't want to micromanage. I wanted people to feel valued. I want, again, you can come to me, you can talk to me. It doesn't just have to be that I'm the attorney or I'm the boss. I'm sure there's a line, but that line can get blurred, and it can be done correctly, because I'm a human. You're a human. I want to make sure that I'm available. And I think I try to do that in all aspects of my practice with clients as well. But for me, it was always really important. I didn't want anybody that worked with me day to day to feel less. Why? So that was an easy lesson that I learned, was how I did not want to be as a boss.
Yeah. And I would venture to guess that we all had experiences like
Oh,
that
yeah.
early on. And I don't know what it is about the law and why lawyers think it's okay to act like that. Some lawyers, of course. It's kind of unique, I find.
Yeah,
That might be a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
it's a lot of arrogance in some respects. And it's just, we're all here. We all studied. We all worked hard to get where we are. We're all doing the same thing in different ways. No one's better. No one's worse.
Right.
No one's better. It's why, I just always felt like I had 104-degree. I never took a sick day. And one time I had a 104-degree fever. And I didn't have health insurance. So I went to urgent care, and they gave me amoxicillin and whatever else, right? And then it turns out I'm allergic to amoxicillin. So I had this crazy drug rash all over my body. When my mom saw me, she cried. It was like, it was insane. And I still didn't get a full day off.
That's wild.
Wow.
And I was in the office just covered in these purple hives with a raging fever. I had to go to a hearing, and then I took a half a day off because I just couldn't function, and nobody wanted me there, right? Like everybody else, they're like, please go home, get away from
take
us.
The plague away.
Yeah.
And then, the paralegal or office manager, it's not her fault. It was his directive, said, hey, are you coming in on Saturday?
Oh,
And I was like, no, I need to be in bed. No. And that was just
The beginning of the end.
Never do that to somebody. I was so visibly sick.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that.
That's
It
wild.
was crazy.
Not shocking.
No,
No,
not
not
shocking.
shocking. Not
but a
shocking
culture
at all.
that I think we've all
Yeah.
strived to change.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's unnecessary. There was no emergencies. Nothing happened.
It's a
No.
control.
I
ego.
Yeah.
was
It's a
just
control
gonna say
issue.
that.
100%.
Just gonna
Mhm.
say that. I had a different answer for this as Michelle. But it's so funny because it's kind of interrelated in the sense that it's about the same individual who was also my boss at the time. So my whole answer to this question when I was looking at it was, I learned that perfection isn't real. And that's because my boss at the time made this I had already decided months before that I was going to open my own law firm. Similar to you, I was on vacation. It was the first vacation I had taken since law school. So it was like my first one in 3 years. I had everything prepared for him. I put everything on his credenza, all his upcoming hearings, all the arguments laid out. And he calls me. I'm at my sister's house up in DeLand where I live now. And he's like, hey, the trial on Monday, small little claims case. And I'm like, yeah, everything's on your credenza. And he's like, okay, well, when you come in tomorrow, we got to talk about it. And I'm like, sir, I did not say his name. I'm out, I'm off this week. Like, we've talked about this several times. And he was like so annoyed. He's like, fine, just make sure you come in my office early on Monday, which was ridiculous because I was always there before him. But yeah, but I walked out. I remember I hung up and I walked out, and my sister and all my family's in the living because it was 4th of July weekend. They're having a great time, and they look at me. They're like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm opening my own law firm." And they all looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done." And that's when I knew, and I knew that I also didn't want to do that with my practice. But that same gentleman, 6 months later, when I was in the preparation to give my 3 weeks notice at the firm I was at, made a very big mistake on the stand asking a cop who got the ticket. Now, yeah. We were vicarious liability defense for the big company at the time. And he calls me at the office. I'm still there at 6:30. I know. He lost the client. And I'm not judging him. I want to be clear about that. I'm not judging him. His arrogance may have landed him there because he didn't ask for help from PI attorneys that he knew. He was a commercial litigation attorney. And listen, this gentleman is very smart. I learned so much from this person. I do respect this person a lot in other ways, and is going to take over a very big firm very soon.
Good for him.
So he's done well in his career, and I still credit for him for the attorney I am today. But what I learned there was perfection isn't real. They teach you in law school, like, oh, you got to be perfect and have this perfect answer for this essay, and you want to score the highest. That's not true, because I have learned more from the mistakes that my clients have made and the mistakes that I have made in my practice that are the reason I'm a badass attorney today. I can say that because of the mistakes I made. So I think it's that perfection is a lie. It's not real.
I'm so glad you say that, because I think we all leave law school thinking we have to be perfect or we
Yeah.
failed, but literally no one is perfect. It's
No.
impossible. It's an impossibility.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think when you accept the reality that perfection isn't real, it sort of shifts the way you approach everything, and it almost like a weight lifted off your shoulder.
Yeah, it allows you to give yourself more grace.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard as attorneys because we have, ethical obligations and malpractice, but you have to fail to succeed. Like, it's the only
100%.
way, but it can be
You
very
never
hard
forget
for
those
us.
mistakes.
Nope.
Never.
You'll never make it
Best
again.
lessons.
Never forget
Never
those
make it again.
mistakes. All right. Since we're on the Legal and Wealthy podcast, let's change the topic up a little bit. If you could go back, and this is for everyone, we can go around again. If you could go back and tell your first year associate self, you see her on her first day, about money, advice, a sentiment about money and being a lawyer, what would that be?
So, Elena here, I have a lot to say. Like, it's not like one thing. There's so many things to say, so many pieces of advice. But for me, I wasn't an associate. I was an assistant public defender. If you do that, you really don't have any thoughts about money. I was making $40,000, right? Yeah. So, just that it'll come. Do your job to the best of your abilities, and if you do that over time, it will come. There's a little more to it, right, that I would love to say, but I guess I'll just stick with that one.
I know we could have done a whole
A
episode
whole thing
just on that.
I mean, I have so much more to say on it, but I'll let Steph take it.
Because Steph has so much to say all the time. But I am working on that in group therapy, okay? For me, it's sort of a combo of, so in my house growing up, we didn't talk about money. It happened, the bills got paid, but there wasn't, no one taught me how to balance a checkbook. No one taught me about debit cards, credit cards, interest rates, student loans. And I grew up in the South. I was originally North Carolina, and then I told you Space Coast, to conservative folks. So this was not a spoken topic. So at first I would just say, go learn something. Go pick up a book. Now we have all these podcasts as an opportunity to learn while you're walking or jogging or what have you. And start retirement now. Whatever tiny bit that you can put away, even making $40,000, because at least then
I had a pension.
I had
a pension.
Hey, mazel.
Yeah,
I stayed
long enough to get one.
But
smart.
But I had no kids at the time. I was not married at the time. I paid whatever that I was paying for a room for rent. I mean, life was as simple away early.
As somebody who's been through a bankruptcy and a divorce and started her life over and doesn't have a whole lot in savings, I would say two things. One, start saving sooner. I agree, even for the small amount. I wish I would have listened to my dad. I finally started doing it, and that little bit added up to a big chunk that saved my butt a couple times over the last couple years. And then the other thing I would say is credit is your friend. If you learn how to use credit wisely, you can really make it work for you. So learn as much on what you said, educate yourself and learn how to use credit as your ally.
For me, I would say not all money is green. What does
Say
that
more.
mean?
Yeah.
It means that just because I can take the case doesn't mean that I should.
Oh yeah, no,
Right,
money is
because
good
there's-
money.
Not all money is good money.
Yep.
Not all money is good money. That's what it means
Yep.
essentially. That you will want to take the case because
Amen.
maybe it's a slow month. You haven't gotten a new client in a few weeks, and I really need to pay my staff or whatever it is. And it's the wrong decision. And your gut feeling will tell you it, and you will ignore it,
Preach.
and it's all downhill from there.
I think I'm gonna clap on that one.
Yeah.
That is so
I'm still
important.
learning that one.
Not all
Not
money is
all
good.
money is good money.
Those end up in the motion of withdrawals where they show up in court and say all the things that they hate you about. And you've done zero things wrong.
And you had the red flags during the call,
Yes.
but you were
Yes.
like, let me give him a chance. No, trust your instincts.
And then they give you that 1-star review.
Oh, yes.
Insult to injury.
Technology coming to bite us in the butt.
I think that's wise advice for all lawyers at any stage, right? That's not even just like, lawyers starting out.
Listen to your gut.
For me, a couple of things. One is just invest as soon as you can. A 401k as soon as you can. Don't wait until your 30s or 40s. Just even if it's just a little bit out of a time, if there's that opportunity presented to you from your employer, or even if you have to go out and get it on your own, something, right, is better than nothing. But also I would say I came from and for many reasons, just there was a fear for me around money, the fear of lack, right? Like that there wasn't going to be enough, or that I couldn't pay a bill, and I didn't have a safety net when I first started practicing. And I think just relearning that money is a tool, and that, you know, we did this career, as much as we love our clients and what we do and all of that fun stuff, but we did it for money, right? We did it to get paid. I didn't do it to stay broke. So, no, definitely not doing it for free, but just understanding that we do have that degree. We do have this ability to get out there and make money, and it is a tool, and we should use it like that and not be afraid of it, and not come from a position of lack or fear surrounding it, and just know that we can do this and it all works out.
So I have two. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but
Okay, I'm restraining
Girl, take
So I think the first one for me is kind of know your worth, which I think sometimes I think women kind of have a harder time doing, like asking for the raise and like, yeah, exactly. Asking for the raise, asking for more money, understanding like, okay, well, I do have a lot to offer here. I do deserve more money. I think that's probably one of the major things. And then the other one is start investing even earlier. I started investing probably when I was like maybe like 28, 29, but I would have started even earlier, just understanding compound interest and seeing how that works. That would be my second one.
Really good. Really good. So this is why we have our collective brain, to cover.
And I want to piggyback off of what you just said, just because, you were saying that, advocate for yourself with the raises and stuff, especially being a woman. Well, and especially if you're working in a firm and there's other associates, and over time, if you stay long enough, you're going to find out what everybody makes, right? And don't be shocked, newbie baby lawyer, women lawyers, that the men are going to make more. And you got to do what you got to do to make sure that that isn't how it is for you, and that you make just as much, if not more.
Our fault.
Yeah.
We don't speak up. We don't push back and say, no, this is what I'm worth. This is what you're going to pay me, or I'm gone.
Yep. Yep.
Or try. No, go ahead.
Any newbies that might be listening, like, they need to push back from the jump. They need to learn and do better than we did in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
regard.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a skill that you have to just
Yep.
do.
The
Do
most
it
important
scared.
thing you have is your voice.
Yeah.
Bottom
And
line.
talk to people. Ask,
Mhm.
like you said, ask everyone what they're making,
Mhm.
you know, even in other firms, or go to a firm that publishes, you know, their salaries. That's another.
Glassdoor or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we have time for only one more question before we need to wrap it up. I feel like we could do this all day. This one's for Stephanie, and then we'll open it up to the group. What is a non-negotiable thing you protect in your life that you used to sacrifice without a second thought?
It's fitness, baby. So I came from the soccer background where I had to run really fast and do things, and you know, like the old jump how high. That's what the sports world is. And so then when I stopped playing ball and I went to law school, I was really happy. Actually I made a promise to myself. I said, "You're not running more than 2 miles consecutively ever again." And I kept that promise for a long time. I kept that promise for a long time. But what does it end up with? It ends up with a back surgery. It ends up with, like, I was literally disembodied. So whoever's watching this in the camera, from here up, intellectual, fun, sponge, brain. Here, I just ignored, right? And so there was a huge expansion and self-confidence and growing with learning more. But I also had a lower body expansion. And so and because it wasn't really affecting like self-confidence and self-worth, it just was kind of by the wayside until it's not, right? And so I was probably 10 years into practice when I was like, whoops, somebody messed up here. The somebody is me. I'm running on caffeine, I'm running on sugar, I'm eating junk. Like, I got to sort this out because and let's not forget that in the sports world, and I know all the former athletes here can relate, I get told when to work out, how to work out. I'm working out with people, and I get told what to eat. Macros, minos, whatever all these things are. So I didn't know what to do and how to be. And so then I had this back surgery that you guys know about. And that was it. That's all she wrote. That doctor told me, if you want to avoid having a cage in your back, you need to get your act together. And I said, really? He said, really? And I said, okay. And it really scared me. It scared me big time. And so now y'all know, because some of you are on fitness chats with me, some of you are on accountability chats with me. This morning, I got the kids ready. I went on a walk. I did lower legs. I got in the ice bath and I meditated. And that's all before 7:20.
Wow.
And I have an excellent spouse that picks up all the slack that I can't pick up because I'm doing those things. But it is so much harder to get back in shape than to maintain fitness. Don't do it. Your heart, your lungs, your body, and then for a lot of people who are really attached to their looks and how they feel really is by what they look like, it's gonna bring you down. I was never down in the trenches and like depressed because of it. But that's a very slippery slope. It's a very, very slippery slope. So just walk. Christy has what is it called that you walk on?
Net walking?
Oh yes, but no, yes, you walk at networking. You have a thing that you walk on at work.
Oh, a treadmill.
Oh, okay.
But they're called
fancy contraption.
They're called walking pads now.
I mean,
like a desk.
But
a
I know what
walking
she's
pad, but
talking
it
about.
does
Yeah.
look like it's just a small treadmill because walking pads don't have the rails to hold on to, and that is very dangerous. So that's a no.
Okay, yeah, so it's like something simple like that, like just get a walking pad, just sit down for 10 minutes and meditate. Like I do it all now. So if any of y'all want to meditate, go in an ice bath, go in a sauna, go on a walk, just call me. I'm probably doing it, so don't do that.
I'll piggyback on that because I 100% agree. And that's always a question, what would you tell your younger self or when you're in your 20s? It's just exercise. And not just for the physical part of it, but also for the mental health.
Yeah.
Now it's kickboxing, Pilates, walking, like you said, strength training. And it's because I truly enjoy it. Yeah, there's of course physical benefits to it, but the mental benefits, just being able to leave my day behind and go to the gym and I don't want to hurt myself. So now this is the only thing I'm focusing on. I'm not thinking about anything else. That is so valuable to me. But I had a kind of going along with that is my work-life balance. It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I will not look at my phone after 6. I'm not checking emails. I'm not doing it on the weekend. And I know, I'm not a litigator. I'm a transactional attorney.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I did start off having to litigate a lot.
Yeah.
And I did get burned out, not just from the litigation, but like we talked about, you had to drive to all the courthouses. And I was constantly somewhere. I-95, Miami, Broward, everywhere. And that did burn me out, but I also just kind of grew my practice and it grew organically to do more transactional work. And I decided, yeah, I like this because I'm not gonna do this on the weekends.
Yeah.
I want to travel. I want to go get my nails done in the middle of the day if that's what I want to do. Like that's just how I'm gonna do it. And to me, that's a non-negotiable. My work-life balance. After 6, no, it's gonna wait till the next day.
You answer the phone for me after 6.
For you and for anyone at this table,
Right.
nobody else.
But but to the litigators who are saying, how in the world can I find 15 minutes to go on a walk? I have to prepare for opening statement. So do I. This morning when I was walking, it's a firehouse walk. I walked to the firehouse and back. All I was thinking about is how am I gonna mentally write this opening statement? Wasn't listening to a podcast. So it's not an either or, it's an and. You can work out and learn something or and memorize something or and practice your motion hearing in the morning. It's not exclusive.
Yeah.
You could jump on a treadmill for 10 minutes instead of scrolling on Instagram. Or you could scroll on Instagram while you're on that treadmill. You're going to do those things, so why not, add in that few minutes of activity.
Just to add in the non-negotiable for me is the work-life balance, travel. I have a work phone that's separate from my personal phone, and it is on silent. I have an auto response on my email because if it's a true emergency, I can't help you. The auto response says, if it's an emergency, call 911 or DCF. I can't help you. There's nothing I can do to help you in your emergency. So I'll talk to you on Monday.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I would say mine would be, I mean, it's along the health kind of trend, but mine would probably be sleep. Whenever I started out as a litigator, because, sometimes you get like really caught up in things. Like a lot of times you have a lot of cases that have a lot of things going on with tons of deadlines, and then you have court in the morning. And so I used to just like work until like midnight, and then I'd wake up at like weird hours, like 4 a.m. and finish prepping for my hearing the next day. And I think like as I got older, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore, because I would just crash. And then like wouldn't move in the afternoon sometimes. And so I think that right now in my life, I've kind of transitioned to prioritizing sleep.
Yeah, I prioritize sleep too. And something that you said about, you would wake up and have like really weird hours to prep things and stuff. The reason why we can prioritize sleep though at this point, one of the reasons is because you do things better. Like you are more efficient. You know how to do what you're doing, and you could do it in a shorter amount of time. So you don't have to spend long hours preparing for something that, you used to spend long hours. Now it's, a half an hour or whatever. And, we all are business owners, and you now are able to delegate things. So although the non-negotiable for me would be sleep as well, I think that that's something that people should know that kind of comes with time. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't think you can always just like start out at the beginning and that's your, I mean, if it's your priority, it's your priority, but it's hard to find that time when you're trying to learn this new thing that's called the practice of law.
I know. I was about to say, I'm listening to all of you, and I'm so envious because I have I don't have that, but I will say
we know. We get your emails at 2 a.m.
I know. But I will say this. Once summer's over and my A players are back, my non-negotiable has officially become not lowering the standard for anybody around me. So if I hire someone and they are below the standards I have set, they're going to be gone just as quick as they started, because it's impacting my family, my life, and my clients. And so hopefully the next time you invite us onto a podcast, my answer will be different. But for today, my non-negotiable is nothing but A players around me.
No, that's a great non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a motto we should be living by.
I just want to get in the gym. When I get back to Ohio, I'm building my rack. We're going to have a different conversation about 6 months.
I love it. Yeah. And we all go through seasons too. That's something, we all have to be realistic that we all go through seasons where things don't go as smoothly as we hope. but it's not staying in that
No.
forever.
No.
Yeah.
And it's being cognizant of it so you can not just whine about it, but like put things in place to change it.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, I just thank all of you for, taking the time out of your busy schedules. I know we are all running a million miles a minute to sit here and share your stories and share your advice. It's so meaningful to me. I'm so grateful to know each and every one of you and have the ability to pick up the phone and ask you about your areas of expertise or just in life areas of expertise. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And yes. Yes.
Maybe we could do this quarterly.
I would love that.
Ooh, track our
I like
journeys.
it.
Followed by a spa day?
Yeah.
Some sleep.
I don't.
You can get a nap
I
together?
can
Group nap.
Listen, I read a study recently. They
We're
did
gonna have
this
a
study,
cot.
and a
Yeah,
lot of
like
people
a
can
nap
function
time.
on 4.8 hours of sleep. And while, is
How's
it
your
nice?
nervous system doing with that?
I'm actually not bad. Like, honestly, if you actually knew everything
Not
that
bad.
I am
That's how
juggling,
Not bad is-
we don't
I'm
want to
doing
be
pretty
not
damn
bad.
well.
Yeah.
yeah, like,
I used to not
I'm
sleep
good
a
on
lot.
5-6 hours.
And now, if I sleep 6 hours, I'm a grumpy bitch, yo.
If I'm lifting weights, it's different. If I'm lifting weights, I need 8 hours because my body needs to like recover because I'm
Yeah.
kicking my own ass.
We all have to do what works for us,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you again. And everyone for listening in. Thank you for joining another episode of Legal and Wealthy. I hope you truly learned a lot and took a lot from this. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Legal and Wealthy. If today's episode sparked something in you, take it one step further. Share it, leave a review, or come connect with me inside the Legal and Wealthy community. Remember, wealth isn't just about the numbers. It's about how you lead, how you live, and how you build beyond the billable. You already have what it takes to create real freedom and wealth. I'm just here to help you claim it.